Hello and good evening out there, Caniac Nation. Thanks for joining us for session 62 of Caniac Sessions. I am Griff.
And I am AB.
That was good. I like the non-use of the apostrophe. But anyway, I hope everybody's doing good on this Wednesday evening. Canes are on a 2-day break here after finishing up the road trip through Western Canada with a couple stops on the way in Pittsburgh and St. Louis. And so, get together on this Wednesday evening. We got a game tomorrow night. And if you're listening to this on the podcast version, a game tonight on Halloween against Boston in the Lenovo Center. Excited to return back for that. Unfortunately, I will not be in the building because I got young kids that are going trick-or-treating tomorrow night, AB.
Trick or treat.
Yeah, but I've got some good, motivated Canes fans that will be in my seats tomorrow night.
Great.
So, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. Speaking of trick or treating, what's your favorite candy?
I'm not a big candy guy, actually, but
when you were a kid.
I do like the what is it? There's these little suckers and they're caramel apples, like the green sucker, and then it's covered in caramel.
Tootsie Pops?
No, they're
candy
called
apples.
Caramel apples.
Caramel apples.
You don't know what caramel apples are?
Yeah, I do. It's the fair. Yeah.
Anyway, I like
thank
those.
Thank God that's over. I'm more of a Twix and a Snickers kind of guy.
That's nice.
That's my thing.
Yeah, well, always got to inspect the kids' candy after trick or treat, and then you get the dad tax. So
the dad tax.
I like Butterfingers. Those are, I guess, if I have to pick a candy bar, I like Butterfinger.
Butterfingers is really good. Yeah,
they're solid. It's a solid choice, right?
But candy corn, absolutely not.
That's disgusting. Anyway,
no.
So yeah, we've got a big session tonight. We're going to be joined momentarily by Shane Willis and Mike Maniscalco, both of the Carolina Hurricanes. I'm sure you guys know who they are. Mike Maniscalco is the play-by-play for the team on the brand new, newly named FanDuel Sports Network. And then Shane Willis is Carolina Hurricanes analyst, also on the FanDuel Sports Network, and former Carolina Hurricane, Shane Willis. So they'll be joining us here momentarily, probably in about 10 to 15 minutes. They're going to pop in, and we're just going to talk about the road trip. We're going to ask them some questions covering the storylines around the team, see how that rolls. So, but before we do that, before we get going here, first things first, we're brought to you by DraftKings and Gametime as a member of THPN. That's the Hockey Podcast Network. Check out at HockeyPodNet on X. It's got a link to all of their socials and website. Check them out. Tons of podcasts covering everything you can think of hockey related. So check out THPN. We are a small but proud part of that. Anyway, AB, we got a little bit of news to cover related to the team. Not a lot, but some things of substance anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So the team was in Vancouver, right? Just after after beating Seattle in Seattle, they made their way up to Vancouver, and then we found out the morning of the game.
Oh, I thought you were talking about something different. My bad.
Oh no, I'm not talking about the McDonald's thing. No.
Yeah.
Although a great story. If you haven't read about that, go read about the McDonald's trip. But anyway, we found out the morning of the game really early that Spencer Martin was called up from Chicago on an emergency basis. So when we hear that, we know that means there's likely an injury or illness of some sort to one of the goaltenders. And if you kind of read between the lines, we knew that Freddie Anderson had just come off of a start in Seattle. And so your mind immediately goes to Freddie, and people were speculating. And, my first thought was, oh no, please don't be related to the clotting issue from last year.
Mm-hmm.
That was my immediate thought.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
Yeah, it was the same with me. And thankfully we found out that it was not. and
Yeah.
it seemed to be a tweak. Again, it's not like the NFL or the NBA where you hear about, oh, it's a strained back or something like that. It's usually a lower body or upper body injury.
Yeah.
Um, with the NHL. So thankfully, it was not related to the blood clotting. Um, hopefully, it was just for Martin to be there just in case something were to happen. And they did comment that Freddie was coming back to Raleigh to get more tests done.
Hmm.
Haven't heard anything from that, but just
Rod did say,
precautionary is what it feels like.
well, Rod did say today that he didn't think he'd be out of lineup for a long time. He did get reevaluated, but Rod said that he didn't have an update.
Mhm.
But he didn't think it was a huge deal. And so we'll kind of wait around on that. But yeah, it sounds like lower body. And, we'll wait. We'll probably find out more in the morning at morning skate. I know the team's skating at 10:30 at the Lenovo Center to get ready for the game tomorrow night. So I'm sure they'll have some media availability after that, and we'll hopefully get an update.
Mhm.
So, yeah, we need Freddie to get back. He has had a great start to the season. He's leading the NHL in goals against average and save percentage, both right now. Yes, he's only had 4 starts. However, that's still a great start. So
It's elite. That's what it
yeah,
is.
yeah, we need to get him back. But in the meantime, I hope and I expect that Coach Chetkov can get here on a roll and do just fine as long as he quits going on his little walks. We'll talk about that later. Something else that came out yesterday is the 25th anniversary of the Lenovo Center, called the Lenovo
Yes.
Center now, previously known as the RBC Center, PNC Arena.
Arena,
What's
Raleigh
that?
Sports and Recreation.
Yeah, all that good stuff. So Lenovo Center now, so that's what we'll call it. But 25 years yesterday. So we know that they have announced plenty of renovations and site development around the arena and all that. So it's only going to get better, and it's just beginning for that area. I'm excited about it. Some people aren't. Some people, especially like NC State fans, think they're losing their tailgating
No, no, no,
space.
no,
But
no, no, no,
some
no,
are. Some are
no.
upset. Well, I'm not
A
upset.
logical state fans like myself.
Um,
Maybe. But you
yeah.
have to realize that there's still going to be those tailgating opportunities, and yes, there'll be a parking deck, but it's not going to take out the I don't know how many acres they have right now. It's not going to take away that effect or block
Yeah.
anything. It's just you know just stay
Yeah.
calm. Everything's going to be the same. It's just a little bit of makeup on the LC and Carter Finley. So
Yeah. Well,
just
yeah, I'll be fine.
be patient.
Definitely. Other piece of news that came out today is the NHL franchise values were released. Carolina came in at 25th overall at $1.29 billion. That's a 32% increase over last year. So something I found interesting, and I just kind of went back and I saw somebody tweet about it today is, so we know Tom Dundon bought the team in 2018. He bought 52%, which is a controlling share, for $420 million, right? Then
Mhm.
in 2021, he bought the remaining 48% from Carmanos for an additional, I couldn't find the exact value, but it was like somewhere between 250 to 300 million, right? So
Mhm.
that means his total investment in the team was between 670 million and 720 million. That's a heck of an unrealized gain on top of his initial investment, right? So that's a $570 million increase just over time. And that speaks to, the league and in general, the league is growing and hockey is spreading. And then it also, there's some inflation in there, I'm sure, but
Mhm.
it shows how far the team has come, right? So 10 years ago to now, we see, you see the value on the sheet, but you also see the improvement on the ice, around the team, so on and so forth. So the team is in a great position, and that just kind of puts everything on paper. Um, it's a great time to be a Canes fan. AB.
Yeah, I'll tell you a little story. My grandfather and my great aunt both were stubborn. My great aunt lived in Georgia her entire life, so she knew about the football and the basketball there and everything, and she heard about hockey in Carolina and
Right on.
a huge arena there, and it was like that's not going to work. And
Yeah, well,
now
it did. It
it
sure
did.
did. All right, AB, we're going to get to our first sponsor, and then when we come back, we're going to bring in our first guest, Shane Willis, who we talked about briefly in the intro. So stand by with us real quick while we get to our sponsor, and we'll continue from there. The quest for the Stanley Cup starts now. The puck's dropping on the 24-25 season. Get in on all the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. It's super easy for first-timers to get started. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, select your team, and place your first bet. And if you're new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ice. Copyright NHL 2024. All rights reserved. All right, AB, we're back.
We are back.
All right, so now we're going to bring in with us Shane Willis. He is the analyst for the newly named FanDuel Sports Network. I think I got that right. And former Carolina Hurricanes player. Shane, thanks for jumping on with us tonight. How you doing?
Well, thanks for having me, guys. I'm doing very well. Enjoying some of this, warm weather that has snapped back in to make it feel like playoff hockey, not 8 games into the season type weather. But we're excited, kind of Christmas Eve for the second time of the year because the team is back, and we're looking forward to seeing them back on the ice at the Lenovo Center tomorrow night against the Bruins.
Yeah, absolutely. So we know the road trip just happened, very successful, and we're going to talk about that. But we know you made your way out to Seattle for the STM trip. I guess that was the occurrence on why you went out there. Maybe I'm wrong, but what a game for them to host the STM trip. Pure domination by the team, fast start. They controlled the play throughout the game. Freddie was solid, and they got the win. So what a game to choose, for that purpose. But so how was your trip to Seattle? How did that all take place?
Yeah, it was a great trip. As you mentioned, a great opportunity the organization puts on each and every year for season ticket members to have the opportunity to go on the road, watch the team, have a little pre-party at a great establishment. First and foremost, going in, I think you have to give credit to Seattle. The fans were great. Their organization making sure we had everything we needed to treat our fans like they needed to be treated. And then, as you mentioned, the game couldn't have been any better. Seattle puts on a great show inside that arena. So I think anytime our fans can go around the league, and we had a number of fans that kind of followed the team on an entire trip to see some of the great cities in Canada, finishing off in Vancouver, one of the best destinations on the road. And again, to see this team not in the most ideal situation when it comes down to adversity they were facing going into that last game. And once again, they just kind of dig their heels in, go out there and win a hockey game. But Seattle was tremendous. And as you said, a dominant type game on a road trip like that, you don't usually expect. But we talked at morning skate. I was talking with Mike and Triv. I went over to the rink to watch the skate, and one of the assets that the Kraken have is transition. I thought the Hurricanes did such a good job early in that game to totally control any transition. They didn't make mistakes with the puck, and if they did, they were always over in layers, not allowing the Kraken to get transition. The one time they do get in transition, it's a breakaway, and McCann puts it in the back of the net. So the Hurricanes had a couple of lapses late in that game, but as you mentioned, it was a dominant performance for our fans to take in and really enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, that's become, I know we're only 8 games into it, but that's become the norm, so far in the month of October. So real quick, AB, I know you got something to talk about, but we also have another guest joining us here, and Shane probably knows him. We've got Mike with us too.
Oh, hello, Wilbert.
Big rig. I didn't know you were coming in.
No, coming in hot. So my afternoon got twisted. So when I heard that I could actually talk to you for a while on a podcast, I'm like, let's see if I remember how to do this.
You mean besides the ghost texting I was giving you all day the past couple of days, and I'm like, I forgot to text Mike back, and then he literally would just send the exact same text back to me.
That's how the relationship works, guys. You were wondering. Now you know.
I get it. That's fine. But yeah, Mike, thanks for joining us. Canes play-by-play announcer. So we didn't think we were going to have him, and then we thought we did. So now we got them both, and this is awesome. Mike, just to catch you up, we talked about the STM trip to Seattle. We discussed the Canes dominant performance, in Seattle, and then just kind of the hot start they're off to. But AB, go ahead. I know you got some things to cover as well.
So Mike and Shane, obviously last year's trip, the State Fair road trip, ended in a 2-4 record overall, and this road trip was 5-1. If you're a Canes fan, you're looking at the lineup on paper. You obviously lost a lot of people that a lot of people wanted to keep, and on paper it looks like a downgrade. But it seems Carolina hasn't lost a step, and I want to hear from both of y'all. What has made the road trip so successful?
Well, for me, I think that was the question mark for a lot of fans coming in. You mentioned a lot of players on the way out, but I still give credit to what this organization does every year and the homework they do on players in looking at the numbers to what they can add to the lineup. And to me, what impresses me the most, once again, about this team is you have the depth and you have a quality team. If you look at the teams, again, I'm going to point out the exact same situation that's going on to me in Nashville that happened to the Hurricanes last year. The Hurricanes coming into the season, everyone's talking about, look what they did this summer, look what's coming in. And Nashville is absolutely struggling. And that goes back to the one thing, the Carolina Hurricanes are talented. Anyone that's going to sit here and tell me they don't have a talented lineup, I'll argue all day long. But what they also have that is better and deeper than any other team is the character and effort that they bring on a nightly basis. There hasn't been a lapse yet in this season. And even when you look at the 2 losses, the St. Louis game probably could have been won. Home opener was the one that you're like, was a little bit sluggish in my mind. It wasn't that they didn't compete. It was just a sluggish effort when you look at the start of the season. So I love the depth and effort and the character this team brings. But I started on the back end, and Mike, you can jump in after me here, but you lost Brady Shea and you lost Brett Pesce. To me, right now, Shane Gostisbehere is playing better than Brady Shea is in Nashville, number one. And I said he'll put up better numbers than Brady Shea, and Sean Walker can dominate defensively and skate just as well as anyone in this league to replace Brett Pesce. Losing those guys, you never want to because they're such good people and character players, but you've replaced those 2 perfectly with what you brought in. Move to the front, you lose Teravainen and Gostisbehere and Nason. You look at the pieces and what you brought in and how they can play in this system, I think is what jumps up to me the most. Roslovic, Robinson, because they can skate, they fit perfectly into what Rod Brindamore is asking to do. Play fast, play up base. And then, hey, everyone loves a good rookie story, and Jackson Blake continues to impress every time he comes over the boards. Michael?
Yeah, let me echo everything that Shane just said. Also, AB, games aren't played on paper; they're played on the ice. So when people, I always love that. Well, this guy's gone, or that's whatever. And it's the one thought process that you want to keep everybody right, but also, and Shane and I hear it in the off season. Well, this team needs to win the Stanley Cup. Why haven't they won the Stanley Cup? What can they do? But we don't want to change anything. Well, sometimes you have to have change. And anytime you have a league that has salary caps, it's going to facilitate change, because some guys at some point are going to say, well, I'm going to hit free agency. I've got to go. I'm with Shane. You didn't want to lose Pesce or Shea or Teravainen. You wanted to keep Jake Gensel, especially after you traded for him last year. But, that's just not in the cards. But what this organization does is they identify players who fit the system of how the Canes want to play and need to play. And if you take a look at what they did, they didn't make the big splash. They didn't sign Steven Stamkos to provide the offense that everybody's looking at. But you know what they did?
Well, he's red hot. He's red hot right now too, Mike. Oh. Red hot.
Yeah, I know. But
I just punted him off my fantasy team.
I'm surprised that you kept him on your fantasy team this long. I thought you would have
for nothing. I booted him for nothing. I didn't even trade him. I just dropped him.
Oh my! See, this is why when we run hockey teams together, like I'm the. Can we give it another week? No, we're gonna drop him and we're gonna go pick up somebody who scored 2 goals. So the long story short on this one is the Canes strengthened, and however you want to phrase it, the bottom 6 by bringing in a guy like Will Carrier, who can play and is a physical presence. And I loved him on the line with Stahl and Martinook, and I'm loving him even more on the line with Drury and Blake because of how he can play. Jack Roslovic, this team identified Jack, I think, and they'll tell you, the playoff series against the Rangers, the guy can play in the NHL. He's a first-round pick. He's had a couple of stops, but he's an NHL player, but it's his speed and how he plays and gets up and down the ice. Hey, that fits the Kane system, what he needs to do. And then you bring in Eric Robinson, and I know that Shane has been a big fan of Robinson coming in. He's the guy. You can put these guys, and it's not plug and play, but you can put them in places. And the Canes want to be a fast team that's aggressive, that are on the forecheck. Shane already covered the blue line, the Walker-Gostisbehere pairing. I didn't expect them right out of the gate to be a pairing that you could trust the way that you can trust them right now. I thought there would be a little bit of a learning curve because of how good Pesce and Shea were together. But you know what? The Orlov and Chatfield pairing, they're eating up more minutes this year than what they did last year. And now you can spot Gostisbehere and Walker wherever you want to, because they've shown that they can play at that level. So, yeah, you got to make changes. But the fact they all adapted this quickly. And for me, up front, you have balance. You have on 3 lines guys who can score goals. You have 30 goal scorers right now on 3 lines when you take a look at what the Canes are bringing to the party, or potential 30 goal scorers with the Kotkaniemi, Natchez, and Svechnikov line. Or, you put Roslovic on that line with what they can do. But Svechnikov with Aho, I'm loving what that line does every single night. You put Jarvis with Stahl and Martinook. Well, now there's a goal scorer on that line. So you got balance up and down the roster for the Carolina Hurricanes. And, it works pretty good. Or you put Roslovic up with Svechnikov and Aho, and that's been working. It just seems every little tweak has worked in the Canes' favor. And you know what? We're going to see changes again. Shane, there's going to be a lull in scoring somewhere, and you're going to see something shake up a little bit more. But no, every move that the Canes made was by design, because these guys fit the way that Rod Brind'Amour and the Canes want to play.
Well, I think, Mike, you talked about adding pieces, and everyone would love to go out, and that wasn't a shot at Steven Stamkos. He's a tremendous player, and he'll eventually, start finding the back of the net. But when you looked in the summer, and I think Jake Gensel was the one guy that I was probably the most disappointed they weren't able to get in and get locked down because of what he can do offensively. But besides those 2 players, there wasn't that, and they don't grow. They're not out there. If you're a 40 goal scorer, there's probably not a chance you're a free agent. And if you are, something's gone wrong. But where Mike talks about adding pieces, and where the Canes right now are running lean and mean with their roster size and banking cap space, and they're going to have room at the end to say, hey, you're having a tough year. You want to give us this guy? Like the Hurricanes put themselves in positions to absolutely fleece a team and get a guy to add to their roster, and they're going to be in that position again. This team is good enough as it is, and Rod totally believes in it, and I do as well, to make that run, get in the playoffs, be in a great position. But then you're going to have that asset if you want to add it.
Yeah, hey, and I keep saying it, and I said it all offseason. If the team 2 seasons ago, without Svechnikov, without Teravainen, that after he got hurt in the Islander series, with Mackenzie McEachern playing on your top line for playoff games, if that team can make an Eastern Conference final run, why not this team? I mean, absolutely, the pieces are there. We looked up a cool stat last week in our last session. Expected goals percentage for the Gostisbehere-Walker pairing led the NHL for defensive pairings over 60 minutes, right? So that part of that's the fact that Shane Gostisbehere can't miss the net, but that also shows their defensive ability as well. So
I think everyone forgot about how hot Gostisbehere was last year in Detroit when they were trying to get in. I mean, he was red hot, probably one of the hottest defensemen in the league to finish to try and get them across the line, and they come up short. So he's had that his ability the whole career, and what a lot of people don't get to see that Mike and I do, how excited he was to sign back here and walk into this locker room. This is where he wanted to be, and when a guy can have that comfort level, his production is going to go through the roof.
And Shane was the guy who last year at the trade deadline identified Sean Walker. He's like, man, the Canes should call Philly and bring in Sean Walker. And at that time, you weren't talking about adding, to the Canes defense the way it was loaded, but it was more of you put this guy on this team and what he can do. And he's got offense. It just hasn't found the back of the net for him. It's not been for a lack of effort, but they've been a really good pairing together. So yeah, it's been fun to watch, and we get to watch it in practice and how it works out. And Walker's another guy. As Shane was excited about the return, Walker was excited about playing because he just walked in. He goes, "This is how I want to play hockey. How the Canes play." So that's why it fits so well.
He fits like a glove.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say he fits like a glove, but I said that about Carrier too, on the stall line, but he fits everywhere too. So, AB, I'll just a second here. I'm gonna get a question out of the way quick, but I think a lot of the losses, I guess, after a lot of the losses, we looked internally at the current roster and the core of this team, and we said, okay, we need some of our core players to step up this season. And one player that has certainly, at least, for the month of October, showed that he can step up is Martin Necas, whether that's, whether he's just super motivated because of the drama this offseason or, whatever it is, he is certainly impressing. And is this, should we get comfortable and used to this Martin Necas? Do you see this carrying over all season? Or, is this just a hot start? What do you guys think as far as his I guess, ceiling?
Hey, Shane, I was in the locker room today, so I'll grab this one first. I actually commented to Martin about the hot start he's off, and he goes, "Slow down, it's early." And I went, well, if you're playing, I go, it can get late early sometimes if you keep playing like this. For me, he was the Cane that was the biggest show me what you're going to do this year. And for him to get out of the blocks like this, the Canes need that. When we made the comment about adding offense, the Canes were counting on Marty Necas and Andrei Svechnikov to be big-time offensive players this year. Well, Marty Necas has jumped in. Well, by the way, Andrei Svechnikov's been really, really good. I mean, he's been a complete player this year. He was really good the other night in Vancouver. But the thing for me with Necas is, and Shane, you can talk to it, there's a lot that goes on a player's mind more than just, we take for granted that they're people too, right? They have things going on outside of the rink that, can impact them. I think he's just enjoying playing hockey right now. And I think the skill has always been there. For me, it's been the consistency. He's been consistent, especially that road trip. He's gotten the same effort every game out of Marty Necas. And if you can do that for the duration of a regular season, he's going to be a guy who puts up, 25, 30 goals, 40, 50 assists. He can be he can be a point per game player if that consistency is there. And I don't think there's, at least right now, Shane, no reason to think that this start can't continue for a long time.
No, and I completely agree. When you look at the pieces that were added to the roster, a lot of people were like, well, that might not be enough. Well, a lot of people are overlooking the fact that you have to still lean on the guys that are your stars. Aho, Svechnikov, Natchez, Jarvis. They have to produce more. And that's part of development, part of maturing, becoming an elite level player. Each year, you have to produce more. And there's no reason to me, I've said this before, that Sebastian Aho can't be a 100-point guy. Svech can't score 40 goals. I mean, Marty Natchez is a 30-goal guy to me, the way he's going. And that's what you need from those core young players. Marty Natchez to me is the elite level star that you need to score on a nightly basis. But what makes it easier, and I'll go back to my own career, because when you go a few games without scoring, it's harder to get out of it. But when you come out of the gates and you score one early, and I've used this analogy before with Mike, if you score in the first period, if I was to score in the first period, it was going to be a big night. It's a different energy, a different feel, all of those things. So I think Marty Natchez knows coming in, there's a ton of pressure that he has to produce. But for him to score as early as he did and get points as early as he did, he's kind of riding a wave right now. And he needs to ride that wave as long as he can to help this team continue to win, because he's young. There is going to be a couple moments and a couple games where he gets, on the schneid and doesn't get him. But then it goes back to how is he playing inside the system defensively. He's as talented as they come. It's just a matter of doing things the right way and staying on that hot streak. And right now he's on it. And as every player would do, he tells Mike not to talk about it because he doesn't want anything to break it.
Yeah, I'd be concerned.
If I can impact his streak, positive or negative.
Well, then, Mike, as a player, we're always looking for an excuse or someone else to blame. You know that.
Well, I know. Believe me, I am well aware of that, Shane. Not just players, everybody is.
Well, I'd be concerned if that wasn't his answer. So yeah, good answer.
All right, Family Feud. Good answer. Good answer.
If we let's move back to Shane Gostisbehere. Gostisbehere again is on a 3-year deal, and like you said, he was so excited to come back here, and he had 4 goals in 4 straight games. That I've never seen that from a Canes defenseman before since I've been alive. And he's tied for first in defenseman goals. And obviously you have him on your top line in overtime, and now he's on your first power play unit. He's replaced by what I like to call the alpha male of our species, Brent Burns, down to the second line. But like Shane Gostisbehere has just he was here for a little bit, and he comes back and is the defenseman that you need offensively and somewhat defensively. Like, what have you seen from Gostisbehere, and have you seen an increase of confidence from the power play since he's been put on that top power play unit, and especially in that overtime top line?
I think he was confident coming in, again, going back to how he was playing last year, where I think he's such an asset. And Tripp talked about this during a broadcast one night about how well he shoots the puck. I think he's a little underrated with his release and how he gets it off. But what I love is his vision, because he has such great vision. And some of the shots you see him take where there's a screen in front, smart defenseman and a guy with vision knows he's got to go high, and he's not missing the net. I think that's a huge part to his game. When he is shooting the puck, he's extremely accurate. It's not going off the glass. It's not going wide. And if he can't hit the net with one of his shots, he's using great vision then to pass, or he's showing what I love to see in a power play a lot of times is, we all know, all the fans shoot. Well, if it's not there, don't shoot. Like, move it around, and he continues to remain patient before getting the shot off. And again, always hitting it. I'm not sure what his percentage is right now, but I'm sure it would be relatively high for a shooting percentage because of his accuracy. And then over time, we talked about at the top of the show here, was finding players that fit the system. 3-on-3, I mean, that's right up his wheelhouse. And when you get put on the ice with a guy like Aho and Natchez, I would not want to be the other team coming over the boards. I'd say, let me take the second line if these guys don't end it.
Yeah, pretty fair. Although, AB, I was going to say that put you at like 4 or 5. I'm pretty sure Dougie Hamilton went out a heater at one point in time.
Beat me to it.
Line for the game.
Well, I guess I'm wrong.
Beat me
I
to
thought
it.
I was right, but I'm all, you know.
No, I it's funny because if I'm just telling you, you want to be a broadcaster, that's what happens. Somebody's out there is going
to point it out.
Oh, I was about to roast him, so you beat me to it.
Well, at least he did, and not you.
You know, if you want it, I'll give it to you, Griff. I'll pass it. I'll take the
I appreciate
apple.
it.
I don't need the goal.
I'll take all I can get.
But no, Shane just outlined it, and I think the other part of it too, Shane and AB, the question is, there's more minutes here now this time around because the Pesci Shea pair isn't here, and it's more time for him to be on the ice and play and do the things that he does. But I also think with what Shane said was correct. He had the confidence. Go back and take a look. He made an immediate impact in a very small sample size when the Canes traded for him 2 years ago when he was with Arizona. And, you do get that bump when you go from a team that's out of the playoffs to a team that's in the playoffs. I get that. But no, he's such a smart player with the puck and what he can do offensively. And to give him that time, it's no surprise. And, last year in Detroit, 2 goals and 27 assists on the power play. And they've got some talent, but he's quarterbacking that top unit. And I think the power play has also changed, moving Sebastian Aho out to the wing instead of in that bumper, that middle slot. So that's helped out. But no, Shane Gostisbehere he was good in the small sample size we saw him in a Canes uniform. And I think now that there's just more opportunity for him to deliver, he's taking advantage.
Absolutely. Well, we sure are glad to have him. We'll let you guys get out of here. I know we can get you back to your Wednesday nights with your family here, but real quick before you go, and I know we have one more October game tomorrow, but we're going to pretend like that's in November. Give me your 3 stars for the month of October, from opening night to post Vancouver, and then we'll close with that.
Willie, I'll give you.
Not to put you on the spot.
I've got my 3 real quick, Shane.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm used to now having to do this on the road.
You pick them on the road, so you're just playing the averages here right now.
Yeah, and our post-game producer, is you're really trying to give thought to it, going, we need your 3 stars. Man, getting it. Do you want them? Can I just give you 3 stars and not?
Yeah, they don't have to be in any order.
Yeah, just
Frederick Anderson, how he's played, and hopefully he is not out for a long time, and I don't think he will be. It's we'll just see what it is. I think Rod said it in Vancouver, and there was not really an update today that he's really more day to day. But be cautious with it. But how he's played, he's been stellar. I mean, he gave the Canes a chance to win that opening night game against Tampa, and he's been great every game since then. Shane Gostisbehere and Marty Necas. Those are my 3 stars from October. But there's a bunch of guys that you can put in the honorable mention category.
Absolutely.
Shane, you can't copy.
Okay, I can't take any of them.
Yeah, you can.
No, you can. You just can't copy his list.
Well, if If you like one, Shane, I'll trade you if I like the one you want to bring in, because there's like 2 guys I've left off the list.
I have to keep. Ghost has to stay on there, and I don't know if he's a big Halloween guy or not. Is why he's been so good. The Ghost has been scaring everybody lately. I think he's a no-brainer that no one could argue. I think I'll have to agree with Marty Necas, but I'm probably going to have to I'll take Freddie off just because he was good in those games, but I think the team's just been so good in front of him. They were so good in Seattle, minimizing shots and what they do defensively. I think my other star has to be Sebastian Aho, and I think going into Vancouver and where the team and what they had to do to get there and all of those things, I was at home, and it was just one of those games. I said, this is the game that a guy who's a true leader and competitor raises to another level, and he scores the overtime winner to bring the team home with a 5-1 record on that road trip. So I'm going to throw Aho in there. I think you could argue Svech. Jarvis was good real early on, but Jackson Blake could have got an honorable mention for what he's done in his rookie season as well.
By the way, a little interesting note. First time in the franchise's history. I did it all the way back to when they relocated to Carolina, but going all the way back to the Hartford days. First time that this organization won all 3 games on the road in Western Canada.
Wow.
So first time. They've had one time in 99-2000 where they didn't lose a game. They won 1 and tied 2 when ties
Wow.
were the thing. But they never went on a trip where they won at Vancouver, at Edmonton, at Calgary until this one.
Yeah, just
It's
that's
exciting,
really-
but I'm disappointed in my Western Canadians. They're getting soft up there.
It's still warm out, Shane. Still warm.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's not cold enough. It's too warm.
That's fair. We'll blame it on that. But yeah, definitely that puts it all into perspective with that stat right there. That's awesome. I didn't know that. But gentlemen, we really appreciate this. Had a great time, and we will probably be watching, listening, seeing you guys tomorrow night on the FanDuel Sports Network and in the Lenovo Center. So thanks again, guys, and we will be listening to Kane's Cast tomorrow, hopefully.
Thanks, guys.
You got it. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Chance. Yeah.
All right, AB.
Just a great start.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that. But we do have some comments that I didn't get to during the interview. We got BTS, not the band, with us. What's up, dude? Glad you hope you enjoyed that, first of all, and glad you're here. He says Walker is definitely my favorite player we picked up. Once he gets comfortable enough, he'll be as productive as Ghost.
I hope
mean, he
so,
certainly
but
could,
Walker's
yeah.
already doing his own thing. Yeah,
He's gonna go on a streak, though. He's gonna get his streak too. He'll start scoring.
he's gonna get his op.
Yeah. And then he follows up. He says, talk to the Canes about bringing back the red jersey.
Yes,
We should have. I think I've mentioned that to Shane before.
the
and he agreed.
25th.
The 25th.
25th.
Yeah. So, but all right, we got some game recaps to get to. But before we do that, we're going to hear from our next sponsor, and then we will get going here with our recaps.
Let's do it.
We all know how great it is watching hockey live. It's so exciting, like feeling the chill of the ice or hearing the slam of the boards. And how can we all forget Game 2 in the Islanders series last year when the team came back from a 3-0 deficit to win the game? Amazing, right? That was all made possible, that live experience, by Gametime, right? Gametime has a new feature called Gametime Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. And it's not just hockey tickets. You can get tickets to concerts, football, any other sport, comedy shows, whatever it is. You can use the Gametime Pick, and that filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats. So you don't have to waste your time searching through thousands of tickets. I love using Gametime. I also love using their super deal, where you find the best deal in the arena right up front. There's also all-in pricing. You can toggle this feature, and it shows you the total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. You also get seat views with a full panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. They also have the lowest price guarantee, or Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime Picks. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code THPN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code THPN for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? Gametime. All right, AB, we're back again.
We are back again.
So let's talk about these games real quick, and then we'll get up out of here for the night. But so the last session we covered through the Seattle game. We didn't. We covered through the Edmonton game.
Yeah.
So we talked about the overtime win in Edmonton, and then to finish the road trip, we had, we're at Calgary, at Seattle, and then at Vancouver.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'll just walk through the Calgary game here, and then we can elaborate on it, and you can take us on to Seattle. But at Calgary, we left with a 4-2 win. First period, Jarvis would score first. It was a power play goal. He shot just below the left face-off dot, and that was assisted by Aho and Natchez. And then we move on to the second period. And then 41 seconds into the second, Jack Roslovic would pick up a rebound from a point shot by Brent Burns, and that made it 2-0. Andrei Svechnikov with the secondary assist on that goal. Then just under 2 minutes later, Martin Necas would pick up a rebound from a Gostisbehere shot to make it 3-0. Kokanyami with the secondary assist on that. And at this point, you just felt like we had this game, by the hair, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, you felt really good about, the game as a whole and kind of thought we were going to skate on to a win. And then just before the end of the second period, Jake Bean would break the ice with a goal on a shot from the point, and that would cut the lead to 2 to make it 3-1. Then in the third period, Huberdeau would score, and that made it 3-2. And at this point, AB, I started to get nervous, and
Panic.
I was like, oh no. After this hot start, we're going to let them crawl back into it. But they held strong. We get to about 1:17 left in the game after Calgary had pulled the goaltender. And Eric Robinson would hit the empty net for his first goal as a Hurricane. And that was actually assisted by Kochetkov for his first point of the season to carry them to the 4-2 win. Overall, my takeaway from this game was, this was just another instant of the team getting off to a fast start, playing, a solid full game, even though, Calgary was able to claw back into it late. It was still a solid full effort from the team. And I thought Kochetkov was great in this game. I don't really fault him on those 2 goals, but this win here enabled, and we just heard Mike talk about it. We swept Alberta, right? That hasn't happened in a while. But just a great game, and coming off of the Edmonton win to go down to Calgary and get another win, you felt really good going into Seattle.
Oh yeah, 100%. That game just felt like domination, and like you said, got scared a little bit when you had those 2 goals from Bean and Huberdeau. Vladar played really well, but just a testament to the team to where they stayed in the game. They didn't fall back like I was concerned about. I've talked about that in previous sessions where I'm afraid they'll fall back and not play 100%, but they kept on it and they played a really great game. And I think that was the first regulation loss for Calgary, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was.
So good win, and just keep it rolling.
Absolutely. So then the team would head down to Seattle and pick up a 4-1 win. This game, and we talked about it with Shane, pure domination from start to finish. Absolutely ran Seattle out of Climate Pledge Arena with their tails tucked, right? So the first period, Carolina would again strike first on the power play. It was an Andrei Svechnikov goal. Beautiful cross-ice pass from Necas. That made it 1-0. Jarvis with the secondary assist on that goal. We'd go into the first intermission 1-0. Then in the second period, Brent Burns would send a pass over to Jackson Blake to create a 2-on-1. And Jackson Blake would send a beautiful cross-crease pass right over a Seattle stick to Jack Drury for an easy tip-in goal. That was Drury's first of the season, assisted by Blake and Burns. Great goal. Jackson Blake really looked like he was, a multi-year veteran.
Guy.
Yeah, on that play. Just a great pass. Right, put it right on Drury's stick. So that made it 2-0. Then we would enter the second intermission at that score. In the third period, Matty Beniers would pass the puck to Jake McCann, who ended up on a breakaway. McCann flipped it over the right pad of Freddie. That made it 2-1. And I remember thinking at this point, like, we just dominated. We're dominating this game, and we're only up by 1 goal. What the heck? But just 5 minutes later, Seth Jarvis. Seth, grown-ass man Jarvis, totally comes in alone on Decord, totally fakes him out with kind of dekes him off. I mean, Decord is like undressed. Decord is skating off somewhere in like Chicago at this point. Left Seattle. He's skating over in Chicago. And Jarvis just kind of flips it top shelf. Up in the net. 3-1 Carolina. Jordan Martinook and Jacob Slavin on the assist on that goal. Then Seattle would pull Decord, right, late in the third, and Dmitry Orlov would flip the puck almost the entire 200 feet into the empty net for his first of the season, and Carolina would finish the game with a 4-1 win. Again, pure domination by Carolina. Freddie Anderson was outstanding. I mean, that's really all you can say about this game.
100%. I mean, I just kept replaying Seth Jarvis's goal. I was just melting. And he even said he got high sticked and he had to get some stitches. And he said, I could only see out of one eye. And
that's right. That was that game, wasn't it?
Yeah. And it didn't look like it. It literally looked like he had 2 eyes in front and 2 eyes in the back of his head. So, I mean, that was just, that's going to be like a top goal of this season. I mean, just absolutely undressed.
They've given us a ton of highlights, man. This, so far in the season, like a ton of, 2 overtime winners. That one, the overtime winner, was it the Vancouver? What we're getting ready to get to?
Was it the recent one on the Bleacher Report? Yeah. They've shown us a ton of love this year, which has been awesome.
I just kept watching the one, the Shane Gostisbehere shot. No.
Oh yeah.
Which one am I thinking? Or maybe I'm thinking of the overtime in Edmonton.
The one with are you thinking about the one in Edmonton where he flipped it and then Betnanachis and then Aho?
Yes.
Yeah.
Was it Roslovic? Or no, it was Gostisbehere. He pulled it off the boards. He flips it up.
Right to Nachis and then Aho for the one-timer.
That's the one. I bet you I watched that 100 times.
It was the same with the Jarvis one for me.
Yeah,
I mean, golly.
It doesn't get old.
But team played a great game, and I'll just send us into the next one. Went to Vancouver, won 4-3 in overtime. First period, William Carrier got his first goal as a Hurricane. Nice little cross-ice pass, a little one-timer almost. That was from Blake and Drury. And then Vancouver answered immediately. 2 minutes, I would assume. JT Miller circled around the net, and I think Kochetkov lost his stick, and then Besser cut in.
Dude, he overcommitted. Oh, that was so bad.
And
he was like on the side of the net.
Oh yeah. And then Besser just a little clapper, and then made it, tied it up. And then towards the end, Robinson, a little fight up against the boards, and he banked pass to KK, and then it went KK passed it right to Natchez, and it was, but it doesn't matter. Natchez scored. And then we go into the second, and then Jack Roslovic, God, man, he's been phenomenal so far. And Brett, the alpha male of our species, just set it up perfectly. Another cross-size pass. And it was a little bit of a weird angle for Roslovic, but he still buried it. He's a pro. And Svechnikov also assisted on that. And then you get to the third period. Quinn Hughes had a goal, which was a one-timer from a drop pass from Besser. And then this is the one that made me so mad.
Uh-oh. Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So Highlander got a little lead up past Sprong, and Slavin was chasing him, and he could have easily stopped it. And Kochetkov goes, it seemed like 30 feet out of his net, tried to poke check it. Didn't work. Sprong a hold of it, and then Kochetkov just running back to the crease and passes it over to Suter, and Suter had a goal called off for an offsides in the first, and then ties it. And I literally was thinking, this is it. It's done. Like, and we're going to lose this game.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
And then overtime happens. Stahl wins the face-off, and then Burns the slave install, that defensive face-off.
Just like we talked about last
period.
week.
Yeah. And then Aho, Natchez, and Gossespierre in less than a minute. Natchez makes a great drop pass to Gossespierre. And looking at it again, the way he passed it looked like a shot because he dragged it and he passed it right to Aho. But from Likanen's standpoint, the goalie for the Canucks, it made it seem like he was getting ready to shoot it because he leaned all the way over, puts it right on Aho's tape, just a little backhand, just super casual.
It was a rebound.
They score. Yeah. No, it wasn't a rebound.
I believe
he
it
hit
was.
Right to Aho.
I think it rebounded off at the court, and then Aho just kind of backhanded it in.
Well, either way, Aho just
maybe I'm wrong.
Let's go home. So,
yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
you can't ask for a better road trip. I mean, 5-1. Are you kidding me? Compared to the 2-4 we did last year. I mean, what are your thoughts on that game?
Well, if you're just joining us or you weren't here for the Mike and Shane discussion, Mike said that he went back and looked all the way to the Hartford Whaler days, and that's the first time that this team, either the Hartford Whalers or the Carolina Hurricanes, swept Western Canada, meaning Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver,
Alberta.
And right. And he said that there was one time in I think he said 99 or 2000.
Yeah, that was
where they won 1 and tied 2 back when there was a tie in the NHL. But
thank God we don't have that anymore.
But 3 wins in Western Canada, the first time that's ever happened in franchise history. So that just puts it in perspective. But a couple things from this game. I felt early like Kochetkov was, I don't know what the word is, jumpy. I tweeted out like, Chet. I said
Settle.
I said something like Kochetkov looks lost. WTF?
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. And then, man, he was he was all over the place. Like, he was good at points. He was bad at points. He made a bunch of good decisions. He made some horrible decisions. There's the wraparound by JT Miller where he got caught. He overplayed it like big time. He got caught on the side of the net. And I mean, we said Decord in Seattle was over in Chicago when Jarvis faked him out. Well, in this case, Kochetkov was skating around somewhere in Alaska. And I don't even know what he's doing. And then he really locked it in the second period. But then that game-tying goal, I don't know what he was thinking. Like, I know he's aggressive. I know he's got the poke check in his toolkit. That was not the time to pull that out. Absolutely the worst time. I mean, it's one thing if the guy was on a breakaway, but Chatfield was there.
Was it Chatfield or Slavin? I guess it was Chatfield. Yeah.
Chatfield was there. And I mean, stay in your net. There's no reason to come out. And then, if you're going to make that play, you have to make sure you don't screw it up. You have to send the puck out of the zone if that's what you're doing, because you can't screw that up. Even if you even if you poke check and you get the puck, you have to. I mean, what happens if the offense gathers it up and then you're all the way up beyond the face-off circle?
That's what it felt like.
I don't know. I mean, I'm
you
sure
just gotta be smart. I mean, that's the thing where you only pull out the poke when it's right in front of your face. You don't go all the way out and swim all the way out 10 feet and do it.
He did that at one point last season too. I remember they scored on that as well. Him doing that, but I'm sure they discussed it. I'm sure that he will learn from that. I hope, but he's going to be the guy here for the next probably week until we get Freddie back. I mean, maybe they'll give Spencer Martin a game.
He's great. Spencer Martin's great.
Yeah, he is. But I fully expect Kochetkov to go tomorrow against Boston, or tonight as you're listening to this on the podcast platform. And then I expect to see Kochetkov right back on, what is it, Sunday against who do they play Sunday? Washington, the Caps.
God. Yeah, the Caps.
Yeah. So I expect
Ovi
to see
watch.
he scored 2 last night in the Rangers game.
He's got 4.
Yeah, but I expect Kochetkov to go both of those games. So we'll see. But yeah, so to wrap it up here, great road trip and excited to get back in Lenovo Center, play some home games. Just to look at the schedule real quick. Let me pull it up. I don't know why I don't have it in my notes, but I don't. Just to kind of walk everybody through the upcoming schedule here. We've got Boston on Halloween. Let's see here. Where Carolina Hurricanes? We got Boston on Halloween at home. And then Sunday night or Sunday evening at 5:00. That's puck drop. We have Washington at the Lenovo Center. Then we've got Philadelphia Tuesday night, the 5th, on election night. So get away from the TV and don't watch all that crap.
Garbage.
Yeah, and go watch hockey. You'll be in a much better mood, no matter which side of the aisle you're on. And then we'll be back next Wednesday night for session 63. But next Thursday night, which is a week from tomorrow, we host Pittsburgh at home before heading back out on the road for a 3-game Western road trip: Colorado, Vegas, and Utah.
Well, we got 4 games at home. That's
solid. 4 games at home. Some quality matchups, a couple divisional matchups with Washington and 3.
Washington and Pitt and Philly. Yeah.
Washington, Philly, and Pittsburgh. So 3 Metro Division games to watch. So that's all I got, AB. I'm excited. I'm riding the high off the road trip. Enjoyed the talk with Mike and Shane. And that's all I got. So I'll give you the final thoughts, and then you can take us out, buddy.
Always love having them on here, and just let's keep it going. But thank you so much for listening and watching session 62 of Caniac Sessions. If you're watching this on X, YouTube, Instagram Live, whatever it may be.
X and YouTube Live, yeah.
Well, if you're on YouTube, be sure to subscribe. Click the notification bell so you don't miss anything that we put out. Leave a comment. Let us know what you don't like, or if you're rewatching it, let us know your opinion on certain topics. That's how we learn. Give us a like, and you can listen to us on all podcast platforms. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Podcasts, Google. Leave an honest rating. That's all we want. We want to get better. We want to hear from you. And download it, listen to it, and just let us know. Just be honest with us. And you can follow us on all social media platforms, on X, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Caniac Sessions. If you want to keep up with Griff personally on X, you can keep up with him at M_Griff10. And if you want to keep up with me personally on X, you can follow me at AB Caniac Session. Thank you so much for listening and watching session 62. And we will see you in session 63.
Bye.